Alex walked out of the interview room, feeling as if a small stone had just been placed in his chest. Mr. Ko, the creative department head, had been blunt. "Your CV is fine, Alex. But if only you knew how to draw by hand or use a Wacom tablet, the creative specialist position in my department would have been a great fit. It's a shame. Well, for now, you can go to the planning department to handle data processing. They're short-staffed over there." A data processing position. Just the name itself smelled of repetitive Excel spreadsheets. But Alex needed a job. He nodded. "Yes, I accept." On the drive home, the small stone in his chest began to feel heavy. If only. Those two words began to echo in Alex's mind. If only he hadn't given up back then. Alex used to love drawing. He remembered vividly, every time he scrolled through social media and saw a speed painting or a creative character sketch, his chest would swell with excitement. An overwhelming feeling of enthusiasm, a fierce belief that, "I can do that too. If I practice, I'll definitely be able to draw." And, like a ritual, motivation would urge him to run straight to the art supply store, buy the best brush set, expensive drawing paper, and a 36-color watercolor palette. He would go home, open YouTube, and passionately follow the tutorial. It lasted for 3 days. Work got busy, friends asked to hang out, a new episode of a series was released, and the brand new art supplies were gradually pushed into a corner, collecting a thin layer of dust. Motivation evaporated as quickly as alcohol. Now thinking back, Alex could only blame himself. If only I had just practiced drawing a little every day, that good position would have been mine. The shock from the interview created a new wave of motivation. This time will be different, Alex told himself. He pulled out the dusty art supplies and cleaned them. He opened a drawing tutorial channel on YouTube. With motivation soaring, he practiced passionately, sketching and erasing tirelessly late into the night. He thought, "At this rate, I'll be drawing beautifully in no time." And then, he started the data processing job. The job was exactly what it sounded like. 8 hours a day, Alex's eyes were glued to the screen, filtering, entering, and checking numbers. When he drove home at 6 p.m., his body was exhausted and his brain felt drained. He still pulled out his sketchbook, but instead of 3 hours like the first day, he only managed to draw for 1 hour. The next day, he was too tired and clicked his tongue, just 1 day off. The day after that, he picked up the brush for 30 minutes, then ended up scrolling on his phone. The frequency of practice dwindled. On one day, off the next. And then, the toxic thoughts started to creep in. "It's too tiring, and what's the point of practicing drawing? It's not like Mr. Ko will transfer me even if I get good." And so, Alex gave up. For the second time. The art supplies were put away again. The initial motivation, no matter how strong, had officially surrendered to the exhaustion from work. Day after day, month after month, passed. Alex was stuck in the data processing loop. The job drained him, but for the paycheck, he had to accept it. The initial regret had now faded into a dull scar, only occasionally throbbing when he accidentally saw a beautiful piece of art online. Until one fateful meeting. The entire planning department sat in dead silence. Mr. Ko, from the creative department, came over to announce, "As you all know, from the creative department has just resigned for personal reasons. The company has decided to prioritize internal recruitment, especially from the planning department, as we need someone who understands the process and also has creative skills." Alex held his breath. "There's only one requirement. You must know how to draw, or at least have a foundation in sketching. Which one of you is confident?" The room was silent. Not a single hand was raised. Alex's colleagues just looked at each other and shook their heads. They were Excel experts, not artists. Alex felt a chill run down his spine. If only. This "if only" was no longer a simple regret. It was a punch to the gut. It was a golden opportunity that had just flown past his face, and he didn't even have the right to raise his hand for it. On the way home, Alex didn't ride his bike. He walked it. He blamed himself so much that he had no energy left to be angry. But then, amidst the chaotic thoughts, he remembered the first principle from a book he had read, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. Be proactive. Blaming himself wouldn't solve the problem. Then was leaving. The position would be filled by an external hire, and he would be stuck in the planning department forever. No, Ben still has over a month before she officially leaves, Alex calculated. I still have time. He stopped, sitting down heavily on a roadside curb. His hands were shaking slightly. He was scared. Scared of being rejected. scared he couldn't do it. But the fear of having to regret yet again was even greater. Alex opened his phone, his heart pounding. He sent a message to Mr. Ko. Mr. Ko, this is Alex from planning. I know I'm not qualified for Bin's position, but I have learned to draw before. Could you please give me a chance? I'm asking for exactly 1 month. After 1 month, if I can't convince you, I will never bring this up again. He hit send. 15 seconds later, his phone vibrated. 9 a.m. tomorrow. Bring whatever you've drawn. Alex didn't sleep. He searched for best intensive drawing course. The next morning, after showing Mr. Koa a few of his motivation-filled scribbles, Alex was met with a frown. 1 month, Mr. Koa said. Good luck. Alex rushed to the art center he had found. He enrolled in the course, paying the fee immediately. He met Mr. Min, an old artist with salt and pepper hair. Alex told him everything. About his past, about the times he gave up, about his regrets, and about his on-again, off-again motivation. Mr. Min listened, thought for a moment, and then said slowly, Alex, you are seriously confusing two things, motivation and discipline. When you learned to draw before, what you had was motivation. Motivation is like a matchstick. It flares up, bright and brilliant. It excites you, gives you the energy to run out and buy expensive art supplies. But a match burns out very quickly. When it meets a tiring wind or a boring rain, it's extinguished immediately. He pointed to a detailed sketch of a plaster statue, capturing every fold. A skill, it's a wall. You can't have the whole wall in one night just because you want it. You have to build it. And to build, you need bricks. He patted Alex's shoulder lightly. Discipline, those are the bricks. It's boring. It's repetitive. It's sitting down to draw 500 straight lines, even when you're bored to death. It's coming home exhausted from work, but still sitting at the desk for exactly 30 minutes to practice your lines. Motivation is what gets you started, but only discipline is what gets you to the finish line. The teacher's words were like a splash of cold water, but also like a refreshing spring. Alex was awakened. He didn't need the pumped-up feeling anymore. He needed a schedule. That 1 month, Alex lived like a machine. 8 hours of work at the company. 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. at the art center, 10 p.m. to 11:30 p.m. was when he redid his homework. During his lunch break, he didn't sleep. Instead, he ran over to the creative department to visit Bin, asking for guidance on old projects. He was tired. More tired than when he was doing data processing. But this was a tiredness with a purpose. One day, he had to draw an ancient tree. It was very difficult. He started to get discouraged. But then he remembered, that's right, a giant tree. If I use motivation, I'd want to chop it down in 1 day and I'd give up. But if I use discipline, I just need to swing the axe 10 times every day, consistently. 10 swings a day. After a while, it will definitely fall. And Alex continued, 1 pencil stroke at a time. The application day finally came. Alex stood before Mr. Ko. His hands were not shaking. He presented his portfolio. It wasn't filled with works of genius. But the lines were steady, the foundation was there, and the progress in 1 month was undeniable. Mr. Ko looked at it very carefully. Compared to Bin, you're still very green. Alex clenched his fists. Mr. Ko smiled. But you have something Bin didn't have when she first started, a receptive attitude and admirable productivity. Then also mentioned you came over to learn every day. The creative department doesn't need a bored genius. We need a hardworking soldier. I believe someone who can force himself into such discipline will, sooner or later, become very good. Welcome to the creative department. Mr. Ko extended his hand. You'll start by designing the smallest banners. Alex took Mr. Ko's hand, firmly. He had gotten the better job, but he knew he had received something far more valuable than the job, a lesson. He realized that the path to achieving any goal is not a sprint fueled by motivation. It's a long marathon, paved with the boring bricks of discipline. And he was ready to build. 6 months passed. Alex was no longer the rookie. He was sitting at his desk in the creative department, sketching ideas for a new project on his tablet. His lines were now confident and decisive. A new intern, eyes bright with excitement, looked at Alex's screen and exclaimed, "Wow, you draw so well. I wish I had that much motivation to practice like you." Alex paused his hand. He smiled, an understanding smile. He looked at the intern and saw a reflection of his former self. "Motivation is a wonderful thing," Alex said, his voice calm. "It got me here. But you know what? Motivation doesn't show up every day. There will be days when you're tired, you're bored, and you don't want to pick up the pencil." The intern nodded. "Exactly. What should I do then?" Alex spun the stylus in his fingers, looking out the window, remembering Mr. Min's matchstick and the brick. In those moments, motivation can't save you, only discipline can. Just sit down at the desk, even for just 30 minutes. That's what makes the difference. He returned to his sketch, his steady hand resuming the work. He had learned that success wasn't a single explosion of inspiration, but the result of 1,000 boring choices, executed with persistence.